South Melbourne FC would like to thank our major partner for season 2025, Player Maker by Directive Group. And of course our platinum partners for this season, 1300 Pasta, Mitraka, Savas and Co.
Let's go. Let's go.
Lakeside Stadium for the second of 2 Dockerty Cup semi-finals on this Super Saturday here in Victoria. It is South Melbourne versus Avondale. Who will take on Heidelberg United in next month's final? We'll hopefully find out within the next 2 to 3 hours. Well, we should definitely get a winner tonight. But a big opportunity for the reigning champions, South Melbourne and Avondale, who've been flying high in NPL Victoria this season. Nick Dabano and Mark Ivkovic here for all the action. Mark, set to be a big game here tonight to see who will be taking on the Heidelberg United in the final next month.
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity for both teams really tonight, Nick. You know, South Melbourne with a very inconsistent seasons have really turned a corner in the last month. So another huge opportunity for them to make another cup final. And Avondale, well, they've been up the top of the table for most of the season, and an opportunity for them to reach a cup final, which they haven't done for quite some time.
Of course, as you mentioned, Mark, it's been a tough season for South Melbourne, but still well within a chance for them to reclaim some silverware this year. Of course, they are the reigning champions, and if they get to the final, they'll have the chance to win their 10th Dockerty Cup and go outright top in Victorian football history for Dockerty Cup crowns, at the moment equal with Melbourne Knights on 9. Both teams have made 2 changes from their last league fixtures. South Melbourne have made 2. Going out of the team, 2 of the goal scorers from that 3-3 draw against Dandy City, Cooper Halfpenny and the cup-tied Ren Nagamatsu. Coming into the starting lineup is Charlie Leach, and new signing Yuzo Iwakami into the starting 11. Meanwhile, for Avondale, they've made 2 changes as well. Top goal scorer Manny Agwek dropping to the bench. Stefan Valentini's out of the squad entirely. Yusuf Ahmed returns to the starting lineup and is joined by Yite Towns. But a familiar name as well returning on the bench for Avondale tonight in Kerr, who is back after his move overseas. Didn't go through, so he's back in the team today for the Avengers as we're getting ready to go here on this not too cold Saturday night here in Melbourne. We're all rugged up and ready to go, is what you usually get out here on a cold night here at Lakeside, but set to be a big night of action here as South Melbourne in their home blue kits going from right to left against Avondale in their away kits going from left to right. As we get things underway here, who will join Heidelberg in the final? Heidelberg winning 5-0 earlier today at Olympic Village against Nunawading City. Continuing their red-hot form, will we see 2 traditional rivals meet again in the final, or will it be Avondale joining their fellow top 2 side in Victorian football in next month's final? Ite Towns winning the header. Cuba down there to Luca Tavir. Played there from Tavir as we see South Melbourne going forward back the other way. Here's Noel Bernarda. In a crossing position early. Ball into the area, and Kamara got a foot to it. Wellsmore clears it away and is able to win the throw-in. So running through the remainder of the starting 11 for both teams, South Melbourne, Harvey Lopez, Jordan Lampard, Marko Jankovic, Jake Marshall, Andy Brennan, as we mentioned, Yuzo Iwakami, Max Mikola, Noel Bernarda, Jack Painter-Andrews, Charlie Leach and Jack Pope. Meanwhile, for Avondale, Thomas Manos, Daniel Edwards, Aidan Bryce, Stefan Zinni, Yite Towns, Christian Trycheski, Emlyn Wellsmore, Luca Tavir, Yui Ahmed, Kalalu Kamara and Sian Cuba. There's Trycheski with the switching ball out towards Zinni. Great touch there from Zinni, and he's in behind here, but Lopez coming off his line and able to collect. And that attack goes to naught. But Mark, it's been a weird old season for the home side. They've started to hit some form in the last few weeks under Sinisa Kahadzic. Finals may be all but out of the picture, but still they're well within a chance of getting some silverware and ending a 2025 campaign which has been difficult for them on a bright note.
Yeah, that's why tonight's huge for them. You know, to be able to make a cup final in a very turbulent season would be a nice silver lining to what has been a underperforming season, really. You know, they come in as triple grand finalists, and then to have the season they've had has been surprising. And then obviously the turmoil with the change of coaches and Sinisha coming in. But they have turned it around in the last month. He has done an amazing job at Sinisa Kahadzic, turning things around. So it is a rejuvenated South Melbourne, and they'll back themselves to get a result here tonight.
So it looks like we're going to see a long throw. This is the new signing, Iwakami, who's loading up. So Max Mikola waiting on the edge of the box. Perhaps a bit of a weird position for him to be. Usually he's the one launching them in, but this time it's Iwakami who sends it right into the box, and it's cleared away by Luca Tavir. Trzaskowski looking to win that ball, but Lampard did well. Now Avondale looking to break back the other way. Tavir feeds it through, looking for Zinni. Still might fall here to Stefan Zinni. Brings it under control there. Lampard does well to corral him, and it's well defended and cleared away there from Pope. But it will be coming back. But Zinni already looking quite dangerous on that left-hand side.
Jeez, Lampard did well there to just hold him up at the very last second. Thought Zinni was through, but Lampard managed to scramble back and just get there just in time.
A big part of South Melbourne's recent return to form has been Ren Nagamatsu, but of course he's missing today, Mark, because, well, he played against South Melbourne in the first Dockerty Cup tie all the way back in March. So playing for Eastern Lions on that day, meaning that their red-hot goal scorer is missing today. So a lot of attacking onus falling on Noel Bernardo and Andy Brennan tonight. Here's Kamara stepping forward from defence and looking to play it through towards Wellsmore. Strong challenge from Lampard. Mikola does well to keep it alive. He's also a man who's hit some really good form as of late. And that's a great ball in towards Bernardo. And he did well to get on the end of it. And it's out for a goal kick. But Max Mikola has been the man in form over the last few weeks. Rejuvenated under Sinisa Kohadzic in the last month or so. And that was a great ball into the area.
Sure, that was a fantastic ball from Mikola. Kamara just hesitated there, was going to go into challenge and just backed off and gave Mikola that space to put that ball in. Great run by Bernardo as well to get on the end of it. Just couldn't get that clean contact, a little bit too far out from goal to trouble Thomas Manos.
A lot of attacking owners falling on to the likes of Mikola, Brennan, Bernardo tonight. Someone like a Jack Pope who has goals in him. He scored a brace against Melbourne Knights, which kick-started their return to form.
Avondale needs to be careful of those goal kicks. You know, it's been a hallmark of Sinisa Kohadzic is to press his opponents really high, and you can see in that goal kick the pressure that Avondale were under.
Brennan in a crossing position here. It's it into the area, and Bernardo got a head to it, and what a save from Manos. But the flag is up, but beautiful work down that right-hand side. And danger signs already here for the Avondale defence.
Jeez, great save from Manos. He didn't know he was offside. He's caught wrong-footed there and still managed to just throw his body back and get a hand onto it. Very difficult to make a save like that.
South Melbourne playing with their tails up early, and this is a team that had wins in recent weeks against top 6 opposition in Hume City and Preston Lions. They led 3-1 against Dandy City last week before surrendering that early advantage. 3-3 draw there at Frank Holohan Reserve, but so far they've got Avondale pinned back. It's been a very impressive start here from the home side. Of course, these two teams met earlier this year when Lee Monopolis was the caretaker boss of South Melbourne. It was a big win for Avondale that day at Avenger Park, but a lot has changed since then. Wellsmore couldn't clear it away, and it might fall here to Bernardo on the volley. And it's over the bar, but it's taken a deflection, and it's out for a corner. Noel Bernardo is red hot to start this game.
Very positive signs from South Melbourne in this opening 5 minutes. You know, 3-4 chances already, putting Avondale on the back foot. And they'll be looking to take control of this game nice and early, South Melbourne, and they'll just grow in confidence. As you mentioned, that previous game, geez, what a change of fortune since then. That was the game that initiated getting Kohadzic in. He was there that day watching the game, and it was appointed a few days after. So definitely a different side to when they met last time.
Set piece here for the home side again. Into the back post, and it's well over the head there of Marshall. And it's out for a throw-in. There is the new man, Yuzo Iwakami, the Japanese midfielder, can also fill in at right back. Plenty of experience playing in the top 3 tiers of Japanese football. Mark, a bit of a fun fact that you told me pre-game that he's got a nice little record to his name in Japanese football as well.
The fastest ever goal in the J-League after 7 seconds. It's a nice little record to have to your name.
He's had a lot of experience to this South Melbourne team that a bit of experience go out the door as well, of course, especially in the middle of the park in the window, guys like George Mells and Ross Archibald. We saw the mid-season wrap on the South Melbourne website that, of course, Ross Archibald's been unregistered for the rest of the season due to that long-term injury. Wishing him all the best, and hopefully it won't be too long before we see Ross Archibald back and in action, hopefully next year. Bernarda can bring it under control, and it's out for a throw-in. Avondale, on the other hand, though, Mark, perhaps surprisingly not been as active in this window, but perhaps some of these players coming back from injury have almost been like new signings for them. And there was one name I saw earlier today on Sports TG, and I thought he might be a chance to play today. George Ott was named in the extended squad, but I don't know if that was a little bit of perhaps a little bit of funny buggers played there from the Avondale coaching staff, but he's on the way back, which is a great sign for Avondale.
You'd assume that's why they haven't brought any players in, to retain Kirk after they thought they lost him as well. He's like a new signing for them, and with George Ott not too far away, and now Yusuf Ahmed's back in action as well. They've got plenty of cattle there.
Pope has a go, and it's just wide of the mark. And Jack Pope, he's been another one of those players who has taken his game to another level under Sinisa Kohadzic, and not a bad effort whatsoever there from the youngster.
Which is another great opportunity for South Melbourne in these early stages. Whiskers wide from into the back of the net.
Did so well to bring that one under control, and just wide of the goal. And Jack Pope, who, as you mentioned, his roller coaster game really at Knight Stadium, kick-started this turn in fortunes for South Melbourne, scored a brace and got sent off in that game.
Thomas Manos recognising the pressure that his side's under, just going long with that goal kick.
Cuba looking to chase it down. Zinni make something happen on that far side, and good defending there from the home side, and able to win themselves a goal kick. Just mentioning some of those returning players in the last few weeks for Avondale. They've been able to get Aiden Bryce back as well in defence. Matty Reid has come back to shore up their defensive stocks as well, and so they've got such a deep squad, but getting these guys back means that Zoran Markovski is trusting what he has, and even getting someone like Blake Carpenter back as well. Opportunity to go back the other way. Brennan firing from range. His shot was blocked. Cross back into the area. Was Leach waiting for it, and it's cleared away there from Cuba. Avondale really up against it here, but they might have a chance to break. Trycheski looking there for Yui Ahmed. Well defended by Marshall. 2023 Football Victoria gold medalist. Bryce getting his head in there. Well played from Pope. McCarmy. Late challenge, but advantage played. Mikola pops it in towards the back post. Edwards, you get a touch on that one. Oh, it's just gone out for a throw-in though for the home side, and this opening 10 minutes has really just been one-way traffic so far.
Yeah, it's a risky game they play though, South Melbourne, because they are pressing so high up the pitch and throwing numbers forward. Avondale's very dangerous in transition, probably the best at it for a number of years. So once they settle into the game, Avondale, they'll pick their moments where they can transition and break quickly with pace and numbers, and really put that South Melbourne defence under pressure.
Key is for South Melbourne as well, Mark, is they've got to make a count on the scoreboard as well. Avondale, they're blessed with so much depth on that bench as well, different levers that they can pull as this game goes on. So Iwakami, long throw into the area. One in the air there by Bryce. Iwakami puts it back into the area. It's not a bad cross in the end. And Manos just keeps it alive. Did well to contort his body and keep the hands in front of him and make sure that that one didn't cross the line, unfortunately. But again, South Melbourne putting Avondale under pressure. Tavir, lovely ball through there to Cuba. Driving forward here from midfield. He has players alongside him. Still going here, Sian Cuba. Plays it short there to Trycheski. Trycheski can go himself. Plays it along the deck, but Jankovic got a key foot in. Lovely ball back in towards Trycheski. Lampard with a strong challenge. Timed it perfectly, but chance now here for Avondale to lock it inside their attacking half. Tavir. It's cleared away. Leach, Bernarda, Pope. Here go Hellas again. Blue shirts flooding forward here. Pope patient. Finds Brennan. Cross is blocked.
It's that midfield area that's killing Avondale at the moment, especially when South Melbourne win the ball and break. You know, you've got for South Melbourne, Pope and Leach just breaking with pace, and Towns and Tavia and Tracheski really struggling to keep up and get back in time.
Brennan couldn't bring that one under control. Well played from Tavir. Wins his side to throw in. It's been a bit of a weird run of form for Avondale, Mark. I mean, you know, they got that win against Hume City last week, but a few draws in the last few games. The draw against Dandy Thunder, against Preston, against St Albans. So it's not losing, but perhaps just showing some areas of vulnerability throughout this run, but still in a really good position to tackle the remaining games this year and try and take top spot going into finals. But just the last few weeks, a few areas of vulnerability.
Yeah, probably just a little bit of a comfort zone, you'd think, as well. You know, it does happen to them at this time of the season in previous years, and then, you know, a couple of draws, not losses, and then that will spark them back into life. You saw last week against Hume, you know, it was a closer game than it should have been. Avondale really impressive going forward, had a number of chances. Michael Weir playing the game of his life to keep it at such a low scoreline.
Kamara under pressure there, finds Cuba. He's forced to go all the way back to Manos, who's under pressure, and did well to clear it away. That clearance might actually work out because Zinni has chased it down, goes to the deck, and wins a free kick there for the visitors. Tracheski looked to take it quickly, but that won't be coming back. Referee tonight, Yanni Miletus, allowing that one to continue. Assistants today, William Samsa, Ben Lipaleo, and the fourth, Uga Razlan, for tonight's game. Avondale have really got themselves a nice buffer inside the top two mark, and particularly after last night with Oakley missing the chance to go above Dandy Thunder on goal difference. They put a little bit of extra pressure on going into the final few games, but starting to really shape up as a two-horse race now for the premiership.
Although Heidelberg and Avondale face off in a couple of weeks' time, it's a juicy fixture.
Cuba curls it into the area, and it's come off the post there, and it beat everybody. Not sure if Aiden Bryce got a touch to it, but that bounce had everyone fooled, and a nervous moment there for South Melbourne.
Looked like Bryce just got enough on it just to deceive Lopez.
It's got a toenail on that one just to kind of divert it in the air, and almost had everyone fooled, and Edwards was waiting at the back post as well. So a nervous moment there for South Melbourne. Zinni. Back to Edwards. Nice play there to Tracheski. Pass is blocked and cleared away by Payne Andrews.
Jersey did well there, Bernardo. Bryce was right on him.
Now Mikola isolated here with Wellsmore. They played from Wellsmore, but Mikola does even better. Looking to cut it centrally, but Tavir did well to chase that one down. Free kick awarded there for Avondale. Max Mikola and Emlyn Wellsmore would be very, very familiar with plenty of matchups they would have had throughout those many South Melbourne Oakley games throughout the years.
I think Avondale would have been too happy if that resulted in a goal that phase of play. It looked like a clear foul on Wellsmore.
Kamara looking to feed it through, but just on the same wavelength there as Christian Tracheski. Bit of a different look here from Avondale. Yui Ahmed playing essentially as the right winger, and Sian Cuba at times, or Christian Tracheski sliding in as the number 9. Not playing with an out-and-out striker tonight, it seems. Avondale at different times. There's no Manny Agwek starting and no George Ott.
Which you would think would result in them having more numbers in the middle of the park, but you can just see even in that phase of play, Cuba and Tracheski just both didn't want to drop into midfield, so it's not working entirely the way I think that Zoran Markowski would have planned for it to.
So another throw-in opportunity here for South Melbourne, and their new long throw specialist, Yuzo Iwakami, coming over to take it.
I was wondering if he was going to take it on this side of the park.
Well, he fooled everyone and went quickly, and now he curls it into the area. Ahmed got ahead to it. Now for a throw on the opposite side, so Iwakami slowly making his way over, just looking on the bench today for South Melbourne. Jake Charleston, new signing Braden Spink, Lucas Inglese, Luca Durso, Andrew Mezzaruni, Andre Skopoulos, and Campbell Dobson. No Sam Franku, no Morgan Evans, no Alex Menelau as well. And of course, no Ren Nagamatsu and Cooper Halfpenny, both on the score sheet in that last game against Dandy City. So Iwakami straight into the area. Ahmed does well to get ahead to it. It's not a clear. Iwakami. Jankovic tried to feed it through. Edwards did well. On to ground there on the edge of the box. And that's going to be a free kick here to South Melbourne.
Was that slippery? I thought Edwards got away with it, but proved costly in the end.
I think that was Leach on that far side who drew the foul. So free kick in a very dangerous position here for the home side. Such an entertaining start to this game. Still looking for that all-important opener. There's Max Mikula now on free kick duties. Both him and Iwakami standing over this one.
You can hit them from this range, Mikula.
The goal of the season contender against Preston. To add to his highlight reel here. Goes for goal, and Manos did well to telegraph that one straight at him in the end. Avondale can breathe a sigh of relief.
Did well to get it up and over that wall, Mikula. Just not enough bend on it to really trouble Manos.
Well, on Avondale's bench today, Mayan, Matt Reid, Manny Agwek, Kerr, Blake Carpenter and Jackson Courtney Perkins. So a lot of options on the bench for Avondale tonight, particularly the attacking end. You got the likes of Agwek and Kerr. Zinni looking to get in behind. Jankovic did very well and put Payne Andrews under all sorts of pressure and puts the ball out for a throw-in.
That's when they've looked the most dangerous so far tonight, when it goes out to that side where Zinni is. It's looking really dangerous when he's getting in behind.
His partner in crime on that left-hand side, Daniel Edwards, has probably been, I think, one of the top left-backs this season. Really impressed in his first full year here at Avondale. You got those two bombing forward. It's a tough night for any defence as Trajewski does well. Trying to shield the ball, and it's going to be a throw in here for Avondale. Hemmed in on that far corner. Tavir. Defended there by Iwakami. Jankovic feeds it through. And here's Pope. Plays it out wide to Bernarda. Strong challenge there from Bryce. Well, it looks like that's going to be a yellow card there to Aiden Bryce.
Just mistimed that one, Bryce. He had to go for it, but just a little bit too late on Bernarda. I'm walking a tightrope now for 70-odd minutes. Geez, South Melbourne's counter-attack, they just break with so much pace now. A quick ball movement along the ground, very stark contrast of what we've been used to.
So another free kick here for South Melbourne. Just over 20 minutes played, still 0-0 in the Dockerty Cup semi-final. Mikula again on set-piece duties. It's into the near post. Bernardo got a head to it. Marshall was waiting. It comes back out to the waiting. I believe that was Charlie Leach who had the go from range, but he was always going to take something quite spectacular to get that one on target. It's out for a goal kick. Charlie Leach still looking for his first South Melbourne goal since making the move from Port Melbourne in the off-season. Trajewski looking to play it through towards Yui Ahmed, and Ahmed's in behind, flicks it over the top. Zinni's waiting, and he just couldn't get the all-important touch. And a golden opportunity there for Avondale goes begging.
Jeez, what an opportunity for Avondale and Stefan Zinni. That's exactly what I was talking about, Nick. You know, South Melbourne's high press. Avondale's so capable of doing this exact movement, breaking the lines. Huey Ahmed did well. Great ball. I think that was an attempt on goal by Yusuf Ahmed that didn't come to fruition the way he wanted it to. But still, Stefan Zinni, all he needed to do was get a foot on it and just miskicked it.
Massive flashpoint moment in this game for the home side, and Stefan Zinni so close to opening the scoring here. He's been causing problems all evening so far. He's been in a good run of form as well, Stefan Zinni. He did score last week against Hume City. His cup form as well has been exceptional.
He did have a number of those chances denied by Michael Weir last week.
4 goals already in the cup for Stefan Zinni, so if he can get a few tonight, he keeps himself firmly in the running for the Alec Forrest medal. Awarded to the top goal scorer in the preliminary stages of the Australia Cup qualifying or Dockerty Cup. Kami calling for calm as they slowly build up from the back. Pass is intercepted there by Wellsmore and did well on the follow-up. Ahmed, short to Towns, to Veer, and the pressure there from Pope, but did well to stand his ground. Towns, and it's a poor one. Now Brennan. Brennan gets it back on the give and go. Still charging forward is Andy Brennan. Feeds it out wide to Mikola. Back to Brennan. Cuts inside here, Andy Brennan. Goes for goal, and Manos makes the save. Well worked from Andy Brennan. Kick-started the attack, was everywhere in that bit of play, but in the end unable to beat Manos with his shot from range.
Kamara fortunate that he didn't get a block on it, because that could have easily deflected off him into the back of the net. Just Andy Brennan's really looking in good form tonight. Breaking with pace every time he's going forward.
Race is on here between Yankovic and Ahmed. Andy Brennan with 3 goals as well for South Melbourne in the Cup. He did score in that 1-1 draw with Dandy City, which South Melbourne won on penalties. Of course, that man between the sticks, Harvey Lopez, was the hero that night. So you could plug and place that sentence into many South Melbourne games, and even Bentley throughout his time here in Victoria.
I understand that commentators curse and Brennan gives the ball away as we're pumping him up.
Here's
cheap turnover.
Bernarda going to feed it through to Pope. He's in behind. Jack Pope just puts it wide. And he had the South fans fooled on the far side. But Jack Pope again coming oh so close to finding the opener.
Playing with fire in the middle of the park, Avondale. It's another cheap turnover from that throw-in.
So sloppy there from the throw-in. Just played it straight into South's control, and Jack Pope so close. Probably should have done better from there as well.
Yeah, needed to hit it across the face of goal to the Manos' far post. You would have hit the back of the net, but he just probably miskicked it a little bit. It's gone to the near post. Still a good effort.
Trajewski twists and turns and slows things down. Bryce stepping forward from defence.
Iwakami's been very impressive in this
yeah.
opening half an hour. He was the one that stole that ball for that last attack. He's been everywhere. You can see him dropping into defence in the middle of the park, breaking with pace.
Here's Ahmed. Short to Wellsmore. Trajewski. He has a task on his hands to win that, but it's corralled by 2 South Melbourne jerseys, and now the home side can go again. Leach, Pope, sprays it out wide to Mikola. As Lampard inside. Going to go himself here, Mikola, and Lampard's there to support. Back to Mikola. Ahmed getting back and clears it away, but we're coming straight back to Iwakami, who's in range, and shots blocked. Ricochets out to Lampard. Cheeky little nutmeg there to Mikola. Plays it into the box and into the back post. And it's put wide. It was Brennan who was waiting for it. And South Melbourne are peppering that Avondale goal at the moment.
Jeez, that wasn't far away either from Brennan. Climbing over the back of Dan Edwards. And Manos scrambling for it.
Every time that South Melbourne are breaking, look how high Jordan Lampard is as well on this near side. It's 5, 6 South Melbourne jerseys. And, well, when Sinisa Kohadzic was announced as the caretaker boss for the remainder of the season, Mark, they promised attacking football. And I guess after a few weeks of betting in the system, this is what we're starting to see. They play with no fear.
Yeah, well, it's definitely bad fruit for them.
Ahmed, back in board to Tavir. Now Zinni. Plays it along the deck, and Cuba was waiting for it. And it's a corner to Avondale, much to the chagrin of the South Melbourne defence. They felt it came off Cuba last, but referee Yanni Miletus, he thought the opposite.
Yeah, a little bit hard to tell from our vantage point, but Jack Marshall and Jankovic both adamant that it's a goal kick.
Some more defending here for South Melbourne to do. Cuba's ball into the area. Bryce was charging towards it, but Lampard got ahead to it. Ahmed back in board, and Javi Lopez is there to scoop that one up. There's a player down here for South Melbourne. Looks like that. Is that Max Mikkeler on the deck?
Lampard.
No, sorry, Jordan Lampard that's down at the moment, so we can take a bit of a breath here, Mark. It's been an enthralling opening half an hour, and really, I mean, South Melbourne, they've had the better of the chances so far, but Avondale on the other side, they had probably the best of the chances today.
Yeah, I would say South Melbourne's had the better of the play, but Avondale with probably the two best chances in the game. The Bryce's header that came off the post, and then Stefan Zinni with a gimme tap-in that he miskicked. Just showing what Avondale is still capable of. Even though they're not really in the game at the moment, they can still create very dangerous opportunities. I just think Christian Trajewski is really struggling as that makeshift number 9. It'll be only a matter of time before we see Manny Agwick enter the fray.
So Jordan Lampard slowly making his way to his feet, which is good news for those of a South Melbourne persuasion. Their star left back is all good to continue. On the bench for South, they do have Braden Spink, Luca Inglese, Luca Durso, Mezzaruni, Skopoulos, Dovison. So with some of those key names missing, they've had to go a bit deep into the depth chart today. A few of those under-23 boys getting a chance in the squad today, who we have seen at different points this year. Brennan. Here's Leach. Feeds it out wide to Pope. Payne Andrews bombing forward from defence. Ball into the box, cleared away by Bryce. And coming back though, Marshall winning the header. Pope. Here's Jankovic. Good turn there. Well played from Charlie Leach. Did well to suck the player in and get that ball out to that right-hand side. Here's Pope. Cutting centrally, still going. Jack Pope shoots, deflected, and it's gone all the way through! Jack Pope opens the scoring for South Melbourne. He came close twice already, but on that occasion, with a bit of a help from a deflection, he gives Hellas the all-important advantage here at Lakeside Stadium.
Jeez, it was just a great team movement from South Melbourne, beginning with Charlie Leach with that dummy that just allowed so much space to open up for South Melbourne. Great ball out wide, great run by Painter Andrews as well to get out wide and put a great ball into the area. And the old saying, if you don't shoot, you don't score. Jack Pope's a perfect example of that. We've seen him do it a number of times this season where he shoots on side, and whether he finds the back of the net himself or a deflection that makes the ball go into the back of the net. And tonight it was the latter. And South Melbourne with a deserved 1-0 lead.
They've been knocking on the door, and specifically, it's been Jack Pope. I mean, he had one shot from a very similar position earlier, which just flashed wide. He had an even better chance only moments ago, which he put wide. And that occasion, with the help of a deflection, he has South Melbourne in the lead here as Edwards looking to kick-start an immediate response for Avondale. But that ball's cleared out for a throw-in. South Melbourne in the lead here, just after half an hour played. Played there from Cuba. Run there from Wellsmore, and positioning for a cross. Instead recycles possession there to Towns. Towns is forced to retreat all the way back to Aiden Bryce, and despite Avondale having a couple of really good chances, the play has been completely with the home side. So how can the Avengers respond here? Of course, Avondale, they're 1 from 1 in Dockerty Cup finals. So when they've gotten there and they've gotten past this stage, they've been perfect. That one win coming against Hume City back in 2021. Haven't been at this stage since 2022 where they lost against Oakley. You think with all the cavalry they've got, all the players in reserve waiting to come on, that this game is still well and truly far from over, and that their time will come, and South Melbourne are going to have to weather a few punches.
That's why it's going to be interesting to see how South Melbourne react to going 1-0 up. They don't want to go into their shells and sit off. You know, their high energy pressing's worked wonders for them so far. They will need to probably score another one. I wouldn't say one goal wins this game. So, you know, they need to just keep doing what they're doing at the moment.
But also, what did they learn from last week when they were leading 3-1 against Dandy City late in that game, and the game ended 3-3, conceding those goals late? I mean, have they learned from that in terms of game management? You know, something that I guess under Sinisha's predecessor, Esteban Quintas, that was so good at doing it, seeing out games and seeing out results. But they had been for the majority of the last month, but last week perhaps was just a little bit of a blip in the radar. It is fresh in the minds, that of course only being 8 days ago. Trycheski. Towns, strong challenge there on Mikola. Here's Ahmed. Still going there, Yui Ahmed has players in support. Look to find Trycheski, but a bit too much on it.
Needed to pull the trigger. Yusuf Ahmed in that moment. He found a little bit of space. I don't think Trycheski was on for a pass there. Showing a little bit of rustiness still, Yusuf Ahmed.
Hasn't played a lot of football the last couple of years. Yusuf Ahmed, injuries have taken their toll on a man who has been probably one of the premier attackers in this competition for the last decade, and a player who this year does have only 3 goals to his name this year, but 46 throughout his tenure in NPL Victoria. So he knows where the goals are. He's got it in him, but of course we haven't seen much of Yui Ahmed throughout the last couple of years due to those injuries. So see though if he can have a say on this one as the game progresses, as Avondale do win themselves a throw. Towns. Zinni in space on that left-hand side, and he finds him. Zinni cuts inside. Stefan Zinni shot blocked. Put away there, and Bernarda got there first, but Ahmed was able to get back, and it's coming back for an offside. So Bernarda coming all the way back from an offside position. Very late call there from the referee, but nonetheless, we continue.
Jeez, he did extremely well to get to that ball.
Yeah.
If it was from an offside position.
It's another one of those players who has struggled with injuries this year, Noel Bernarda, and this South Melbourne team particularly has struggled without the presence of Bernarda this year. You know, a lot of the talk's been about not having Harry Sawyer this season, but really him and Noel Bernarda, when you take the both of them out, they've really struggled for goals. But since he's come back, it's no surprise that South are starting to find their attacking groove again.
Yeah, he did miss a big chunk of that middle part of the season, Bernarda, which did coincide with their bad form.
Trycheski crosses it into the area. It's the back post, and Yui Ahmed's there! Avondale have their equaliser. It was a great ball into the box, and the Avengers force it over the goal line. And we're level almost immediately after South Melbourne take the lead.
Jeez, it's great work from Wellsmore to break that press, drive through the middle of the park. But geez, what an absolute peach of a cross from Christian Czajewski. And this time, someone does get on the end of it. It's Huey Ahmed. Great finish, great ball. And that's all Avondale need is just an opportunity like that, and they work themselves back into the game.
Huey Ahmed,
Goal for
like we said,
Avondale
like
FC,
he's a bit,
41,
perhaps showing a little bit of
Ahmed.
rustiness in the opening part of this game, but he could still pop up in the right positions at the right time and get those all-important goals, and he did so well to will himself over the line. That just took tremendous grit, putting his body on the line to force that one in.
I suppose that's what Zoran Markovski would have been looking for with this attacking lineup he's put out tonight. You know, it's Czajewski with the ability to come out wide and swap with Yusuf Ahmed, and it allows Czajewski to get a bit of space because he's not being followed because they expect him in the middle. And, you know, that one time that he did drift out wide, was able to get a great cross in.
So just like that, South Melbourne looked like they were going into the sheds with the 1-goal advantage with their tails up, but Avondale have just flipped the script within minutes. And it's 1-1, and things are set up beautifully for this semi-final mark. Of course, a reminder to those at home, if this does end level at the end of 90 minutes, we'll have another 30 minutes of extra time, and it's level beyond that. We're going to penalties. Lovely ball through. Here's Sian Cuba. Has players waiting in the middle. Zinni's there. Couldn't get on the end of it, but Luka Tafia's there to chase it down. Back to Edwards. South Melbourne have already had 2 of their wins in their cup run come in extra time and on penalties. They beat Bentley Greens in extra time. It was Andrew Mezzaruni who scored the winner that game, and of course beat Dandy City in the last round on penalties. So they're well accustomed to what comes next after 90 minutes if the game doesn't get decided in the initial 90. Ahmed looking to play it through. Marshall got a head to it. Zinni chases it down. Still making the run. Zinni just patient and plays it short there to Towns. Zinni goes for goal himself, and Lopez did well to parry that one over the crossbar. And it's a corner here for Avondale.
It's a good strike from Zinni. The space opened up for him to hit it. It's probably the right option, to be fair. There was a big bank of South Melbourne defenders defending that penalty area. I think a pass was going to break through that, so why not have a shot from that distance?
Just waiting to see what side this corner will be taken on. So we're going to the opposite side, just in front of the old grandstand. But South Melbourne, of course, we're not there yet. We're still a long way away from if this does go to a penalty shootout, but a very good record in penalty shootouts over the last year. Did win this competition on penalties against Oakley last year. Weathered the storm with 10 for the end of that game, getting it to penalties and able to come away with the win. Avondale looking to get their noses ahead before the break as the ball whipped in, and Ahmed got a head to it, but couldn't steer that one on target, and it's out for a goal kick.
They've looked dangerous from set pieces tonight, Avondale, able to find some clear space in that penalty area.
Reminder, the winner of this game will face Heidelberg in next month's final. Heidelberg convincingly defeating Nunawading City 5-0 earlier today at Olympic Village to book their place in the final. Continuing their red-hot run of form. Bryce does well on the follow-up. Wants it forward, but Yankovic is there. Kamara getting involved, and Ahmed decides to play it all the way back to Manos.
So either way you look at it, Nick, it would be a dream final if Avondale was to make it. The top 2 sides facing off in a Dockerty Cup final would be a tasty game, and South Melbourne's going to make it through. Fierce rivals facing each other in the cup final.
So if South Melbourne do get there, it will be their 14th Dockerty Cup final. And they've played Heidelberg once in the Dockerty Cup final all the way back in 1993, which they won 6-2. Lovely flick through from Ahmed. Still going here, Yui Ahmed, but there's a player on the deck here for South Melbourne. The Avondale bench is up in arms. They felt the play should have continued, but it will stop.
It's a smart play there from South Melbourne. The rule is if it's a head clash to stop the play.
I believe that is Marko Jankovic who's gone to ground, requiring some treatment. But you are right, Mark, if he's holding his head, so referee was all over it. So if you're just tuning in, South Melbourne opened the scoring courtesy of Jack Pope, a deflected effort from the edge of the box, which beat Thomas Manos, and then Yui Ahmed with an equaliser shortly after that, setting things up beautifully as we close in on half-time for what's set to be a massive 45, and whatever lays beyond then.
Yeah, well, both sides really in the contest now. You know, post that goal, South Melbourne hasn't really gone forward too much. Avondale slowly working their way back into the game, and then you look at the firepower that Avondale's got on that bench. I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see Manny Agwek come on at half-time. That's a handy player to have come off the bench. Saying Kerr as well, Courtney Perkins. We've seen Carpenter play as a winger the last few weeks. So a number of options for Avondale to get another goal in this game. South Melbourne just need to go back to what they were doing in that opening half an hour. Whether they have the energy to do that for the whole 90 minutes, possibly 120 minutes, is another question.
Firstly, on the bench for South Melbourne, Mark, it's you know, with the players they are missing today, no Menelau, no Nagamatsu, no Halfpenny, they've had to go deeper into that depth chart. The likes of Skopoulos and Dovison getting an opportunity tonight. Perhaps even a chance for Andrew Mezzaruni, we haven't seen much of either this year too, but he has got an all-important goal in this cup run as the ball fed through, and well played from Painter Andrews to put that behind. And it's a corner here for Avondale.
The fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum of 3 minutes of added time.
So 3 minutes of added time here at Lakeside Stadium. Plenty of time for either side to get their noses ahead before the break. So it's young Cuba floats it into the back post, and the diving header there at the back stick was from Kamara, and it stayed alive. It just sort of pitched itself right in the corner. And now South looking to attack back the other way, but Wellsmore putting it out for a throw-in, and it was a late challenge, no free kick awarded. But Kalalu Kamara initially had that chance, just flew in at the back post. There was some, interestingly enough, I don't know if you heard, Mark, but when that ball came in, almost some grunts of resignation from the South Melbourne players as that ball came into the back post, and Kamara was waiting.
The grunts were more from the Avondale players because the corner didn't really beat the first man. And it's, you know, taking a different trajectory, that ball, so for Kamara to read it and still get his head on it, it's a great effort.
It's a weird one as well. It came off the side of his head and then just sat there in the corner. I think all the players were expecting it to be a goal kick, but nonetheless. And he will get the first Max Mikla long throw of the game. South looking to put Avondale under pressure just before the end of this first half. Mikla launches it right into the area. Right up into the air by Bryce. Brennan, Marshall, cleared away by Ahmed. Just sunk his boot right through it. Wakami, Pope. Did well. Marshall brings it under control, but it's well defended there by Towns. Andrews nodding it forward, but the flag is up for an offside there against the Avengers. Thomas Manos, the loudest man on the pitch at the moment, just setting things up defensively. Mikla. Lovely flick, goes to ground, no free kick awarded. Nicola gets possession back. Emlyn Wellsmore putting him under the pump, but it's going to be a throw in here for South Melbourne. So one last chance before the break here for the home side. Nicola shining up the ball and getting things ready to go. Yankovic and Marshall up from the back. Nicola sends it into the box, and Manos is there to collect.
Great goalkeeping from Manos to come and claim that so easily.
Half time at Lakeside Stadium. The score is South Melbourne 1, Avondale 1.
So there it is, half time here at Lakeside Stadium. Neither side can be split after the opening 45. South Melbourne opened the scoring through Jack Pope, making the most of what was a very impressive start to the game from the home side. Plenty of chances for both teams, but South with the better of those opportunities, or the higher volume of opportunities. Avondale had perhaps the better of the chances through Stefan Zini, Aiden Bryce, but Jack Pope was the man to open the...
Let's go!
I'm sure they'll tweak things at half-time. It'll be a very different 45 minutes.
We'll be back in around 15 minutes' time for the second half of this Dockerty Cup semi-final here at Lakeside Stadium. The score here is South Melbourne 1, Avondale 1. Welcome back to Lakeside Stadium for the second half of this Dockerty Cup semi-finals. South Melbourne 1, Avondale 1 as we get ready for the next 45 minutes. Jack Pope opening the scoring for South Melbourne, but Avondale responding through Yusuf Ahmed shortly after that, setting things up beautifully for the second half here. The winner, of course, taking on Heidelberg in next month's Dockerty Cup final. Nick Dabano and Mark Ivkovic here to take you through the remainder of this game. Mark, things are set up beautifully here for these next 45. I mean, that was such an entertaining first 45. Hopefully we get more of the same here.
Yeah, it's the definition of what you want from a cup tie, really, in particular a semi-final. You know, both sides definitely capable of winning this game. Interesting to see how Avondale roll out in this second half. I thought they struggled a little bit tactically in that first 45 minutes, but interesting to see if Zoran Markovski's made any tweaks at half-time.
Both teams going in unchanged to start the second half from a personnel perspective as Yui Ahmed goes to ground shortly after receiving possession as Pope looking to get forward, and South Melbourne with a bit of early attacking to start this second half, going from left to right in their traditional blue home kits. Avondale right to left in their away white kits tonight. So a massive game here. Opportunity to book their place in the cup final for either of these two teams. Heidelberg winning earlier today, 5-0 against Nunawading City. A very comfortable win for them. Just in such a red-hot run of form are the Burgers. 4 months without a loss now in all competitions. I believe it's 20 games unbeaten now. Quite incredible. So whoever gets there to take on the Burgers, it's a tall task, but remains to be seen who it will be. Is Andy Brennan dropping deep? Plays it short there to Payne Andrews. Back to Brennan. Plays in support. Feeds it short there to Leach. Wide to Mikola. Sorry, Lampard. Lampard crosses into the area and it comes out to Banana! South Melbourne retake the lead shortly after the half-time break. And it's the Argentinian who steps up and gives Hellas the all-important advantage yet again.
Yet another great team movement from South Melbourne, this time from Andy Brennan, collecting that ball on the halfway line. And we've seen it time and time again tonight where he gets the ball out wide and immediately cuts through the middle of the pitch and opens up that left-hand side. Great ball into the area, and then Bernardo to get on the end of that. He showed some great determination to get in front of it and give his side a 2-1 lead.
Noel Bernardo restoring South Melbourne's lead. A little bit of paper, scissors, rock there as well after getting that one. And that goal could be oh so important. Player we spoke about earlier, Mark, they've missed this year for large portions through injury. And stepping up and giving South Melbourne the advantage. How will Avondale respond? They've already hit back once and got things level again. Bernardo with the goal there. So well worked to get it out to that left-hand side. Lampard's cross deflecting perfectly to the path there of Bernardo. He's a big game player. Hoping that his goal will send South Melbourne to their second consecutive Dockerty Cup final, and their quest to take home a 10th Dockerty Cup will take them clear of Melbourne Knights. Atop the leaderboard in Victorian football for the most Dockerty Cup triumphs. If they do get there, it'll be their 14th. So their record in Dockerty Cup finals as well is very good. 9 wins and 4 losses. As a turnover at the back, here's Bernardo again, bearing down on goal, squares it towards Brennan, and it's helped in! South Melbourne doubled their lead! 2 goals in a matter of minutes! And Hellas have 1 foot in the final.
Wow, what a start to the second half for South Melbourne. Terrible mistake there from Kamara. Just mishit that back past Bernardo with the smarts to steal it off him, and then the composure to find Andy Brennan at the back post. And Andy Brennan still had a lot of work to do to get there ahead of Dan Edwards, but managed to get his foot onto it. And, geez, a lot of work for Avondale to do now to get back into this one.
They're jumping for joy at the moment, the South Melbourne players. And Andy Brennan stepping up and scoring his 4th goal in the Dockerty Cup this year. And South Melbourne have gone bang and bang again to put themselves 3-1 ahead here in this Dockerty Cup semi-final. And they're closing in on a 14th appearance in the Dockerty Cup final. This is so impressive from a side that this year have had a tough campaign all around. But the last few weeks, they're starting to find that joy again. And you can see just how much they're enjoying themselves as well, Mark, with the celebrations and a bit of choreographed celebrations as well there. And Andy Brennan stepping up and sliding that ball home. And what a start to this second half. And Avondale, they've got a mountain to climb to get themselves back into this game. But as we spoke about earlier, Mark, we don't want to be the bearer of bad and try and, dim what South Melbourne have done to start this second half. But they were in this position last week against Dandy City, 3-1 up, and they drew the game 3-3. What have they learned from that game remains to be seen. And this time it's against the Mighty Avengers. Oh, a bit of afters here on that far side. Sian Cuban not best pleased. Max Mikkeler involved as well.
Just the frustration of Avondale coming out now. South Melbourne's really gotten under their skin in these opening 5 minutes of the second half.
Well, considering how Avondale ended that first half, I think, I was thinking that if there was going to be anyone to come out after half-time and really look to put the opposition under pressure, it was going to be the away side. But South Melbourne have come out like a team just completely reborn, getting back to what they were playing with that same sort of verve, the pressure in that first half starting to show again in the opening few minutes of this.
Yeah, I agree, Nick. I would have expected Avondale to come out probably the better side, especially the opening part of this second half. But South Melbourne's really suffocated them in these opening 5 minutes. A terrible mistake by Kamara, but that's the result of the pressure that South Melbourne's been putting the Avondale defence under. Just really composed going forward to South Melbourne. Bernardo could have easily had a strike on goal for that third one, but had the smarts to look up and see Andy Brennan making that charging run into the box. Deserved goal for Andy Brennan. He's been sensational tonight. As I've said, every time he's getting that ball, you can see it's a clear directive for him to just cut into the middle of the pitch to open up both flanks for his teammates.
His name is a bit of a cup specialist over the last couple of years. Scored some crucial goals in their Dockerty Cup run last year, and he's doing it again this year. It's a lovely ball into the box, and Manos had to come out and get a fist to it. A shot there on the volley, and it's cleared away. And it's not in the same wavelength are Trycheski and Zinni and Lampard stepping out and winning possession. Edwards to clear it away, and Avondale at the moment, they just seem a little bit spooked to start this second half. South Melbourne just suffocating them at the moment. It's quite incredible to watch.
Yeah, I think it's time to bring Manny Agwek on. They need a focal point up front where they're struggling to play out of this press at the moment. Get Trycheski in the middle of the park so that he can get on the ball because he's comfortable playing through that press, and then if they can't, they've got Agwek to look for as a long ball, as an outlet up top. At the moment, they've got neither. Trycheski can't compete with Jankovic and Marshall, and then they're losing Trycheski's capabilities in the middle of the park as well.
Agwek, Kerr, Courtney Perkins, just some of those options on the bench that you expect that Zoran Markovski will turn to at some point. Towns, here's Zinni. And it's an offside there.
Yeah, he did look offside, Nick. I was a little bit lazy there by Stefan Zinni, not having the awareness to stay onside in that phase of play.
Stefan Zinni is causing problems in that first half, and the scores were still 0-0. Had such a great opportunity to open the scoring for Avondale. This player can still flip a game on its head. They're going to need a couple of those moments to turn this one around as Cuba looking for the aforementioned Zinni. And he's in behind, isolated here against Painter Andrews. Edwards making the run to support. Instead goes for the safe option there in Towns. Towns stepping forward. Good challenge there from Pope. Brennan couldn't bring it under control. Edwards Ahmed, the goal scorer for Avondale. Cuba. Kamara stepping forward from defence. Does well to ride the challenge. Still going Kalalu. Kamara going on a bit of an adventure here from centre back. Crosses into the area. It's flicked on. And it's out for a goal kick. Luka Tavir. I think it was, or was it? No, it's Christian Trycheski, sorry, at the near post. Had the effort on goal. He thought it was a corner. He tried to plead his case, but nonetheless, it's a goal kick there for South Melbourne.
Great run from Kamara to break the lines there. Unlikely source of someone to do that. So it wasn't too far away from Trycheski when you look back at it.
Kalalu Kamara has goal-scoring form this season. Remember a few weeks ago, Mark, when he did it at a Genesis Steel Stadium against Preston, stepping forward from the back and scoring a rocket late in the game. He did score a late winner against Oakley earlier in the season as well. So he'd be hoping to make amends for that mistake, which led to the third goal for South Melbourne and help inspire a comeback here for the visitors. And here he is stepping forward from defence and under pressure there, but did well. Ahmed. It's Trycheski looking to get forward, and his cross is blocked. Half-hearted appeals there for a handball. Feeds it short there to Wellsmore. Tavir.
You can see how organised Sinister Kahajic has this South Melbourne team, especially in those, how compact they are, the defence, midfield and attack. When Avondale's coming at them, there's just a deep block of four, another block of four as well.
Tavir looking for Ziddy on the first-time effort. And it's saved by Lopez. Straight at him in the end. It was well worked.
It's good defending by Painter Andrews as well, just to get his body in the way there so Zinni couldn't open up fully and get the shot that he wanted.
Kamara. Just turns it over. Osmore's there to support. Still no movement yet on the Avondale bench. Few players warming up on that far side, but still we await for those first substitutions. Bryce, for the run of Tavir, does well to get him in between the South Melbourne midfield and defence and plays it in board. Here's Trycheski. He's in a shooting position here, Christian Trycheski. Still going, has a go, and straight at Harvey Lopez in the end. A bit of a better patch here from Avondale since going behind 3-1.
Yeah, they're finding some joy in those pockets of space up around that attacking area for Avondale. Just got to be careful, South Melbourne, that they don't drop off too deep too early. They need to manage the game, but Avondale does have that quality. If you allow them to be on the ball, that they can pick you apart.
So another long throw coming up here for South Melbourne. Mikola back on long throw duties here. Earlier today it was Iwakami on his debut launching them in there, but it's back to the tried and tested formula of Mikola, and Manos coming off his line to collect. Looking to get things moving. It's a good throw. Might work out here for Cuba, who helps it on its way here to Edwards. Wellsmore. Play there in the Wellsmore, looking to take it upon himself. And he's still going, Wellsmore. Self inside the area, but couldn't get the shot away. Plays it short to Cuba. Towns. Out wide to Edwards. Tavir. As well to ride the challenge of Pope. The shooting position here, Luka Tavir goes for goal, and it's blocked. Ahmed feeds it through. Chance on goal there for Trycheski. And it's saved again by Lopez. So they're starting to pepper the South Melbourne goal. A lot of those efforts, Mark, they've been really just straight at Harvey Lopez.
Yeah, well, Christian Trycheski's not really used to playing as a number 9.
Yep.
He is finding some space to launch those shots, but we have seen him score a number of times throughout his career, but not naturally known as a goal scorer.
Edwards looking for Zinni. The foot race is on against Painter Andrews, and Zinni's there to chase it down. Goes to ground inside the box. Calls for a penalty. Still a chance here. Tavir off the post. Zinni. Oh, he's put it wide. What an opportunity there for Avondale, but the flag is up anyway for offside. But still, the Avondale players plead their case. They thought that Stefan Zinni was fouled inside the box. What do you think there, Mark, looking at the replay?
It's hard to tell. It does look like Painter Andrews got the ball. It's a bit of a 50-50 call there. Could have gone either way. You wouldn't be surprised if it was given as a penalty, but big call for the referee to make. Great effort from Luca Tavir. Unlucky to hit the upright.
They would have had no complaints if Tavir was able to make the most of it on the rebound and did so well to beat Javi Lopez, but in the end the woodwork denying Tavir a goal which would have halved the deficit. Zayden Bryce does well to get the pressure there from Bernardo. Lampard stepping up from defence, does well. Goes for goal. Ahmed does well to get a foot in, and now here's a chance for Avondale. Towns, a big collision there in the middle of the park, and that's going to be a free kick going to the Avengers. And the word here, it's actually going to be taken quickly. So Cuba looking to feed it through towards Stefan Zinni, and Painter Andrews did well. A bit of confusion there in the middle of the park. I thought for a moment that Yanni Miletus was going to have a word there with Yuzo Iwakami and stop things for the free kick, but Avondale weren't going to wait. Throw in taken quickly. Trycheski there on the byline, wins a corner.
Painter Andrews has had a really good start to this second half. Saw that first 20 minutes in the game that Stefan Zinni was getting in behind him, but Painter Andrews has recognised that Stefan Zinni's pace, so he's just adjusted his body every time that ball's played out and just made sure that he's behind the man and Zinni isn't able to get past him.
More defending for South Melbourne to do. Cuba whips it into the area, nodded away there by Marshall. Bryce. Ahmed. Lovely one-touch football. Tavir feeds it through. Cuba in behind. Crosses it back in board, but it's come off the outside of the foot and out for a goal kick.
It's just a little bit of a heavy pass to Cuba. If he nailed it, Cuba was in. Just asking a little bit too much of him to get on the end of that one.
So it's been just over 10 minutes since South Melbourne added a second in that early barrage to start this second half. But really since then, Avondale have responded and have had this South Melbourne defence under all sorts of pressure. So as you said, Mark, they can't afford to sit too far into go too much into their shells and sit too much back, because Avondale are putting them under all sorts of pressure.
Yeah, if I was South Melbourne, I would just keep pressing Avondale high because they've had so much joy from it tonight. We've seen the times where they've backed off from that press. It's allowed Avondale to grow into the game. Saw it in the first half. They got a goal when South Melbourne started to drop off a little bit. And the past five minutes or so, Avondale's created a number of chances.
You just get the sense in this game, Mark, that if Avondale get one, it's going to make things if it isn't already interesting now, it will make things even more interesting heading into the last few minutes, just to really throw the cat amongst the pigeons.
Well, they do have the quality to get back into this game. It's definitely not dead and buried.
Well, again, a reminder to those at home, if it ends level after 90 minutes, we go to extra time. So really they just need two to keep this contest alive, as Bryce stepping forward from defence. Edwards and Zinni in support. Couldn't find either of his teammates, and Andy Brennan does well to get back and play it short to Lampard, but he was under pressure and he just plays that one straight to the ball kid, out for a throw-in, but nonetheless, what's going on here? It looks like that it's a player down here for South Melbourne, so that's what Lampard was doing, in fact, to play it out of bounds and stop the play. It is Max Mikola, who is down right on that far side.
Avondale not happy about it. They just wanted to get on with it. But the ball did go out of play, so the referee's entitled to halt play for a moment.
Well, if you're just tuning in, And unaware South Melbourne with 2 quick goals after half-time to take the lead. Noel Bernarda and Andy Brennan on the score sheet to restore South Melbourne's early advantage. They led through Jack Pope before Yusuf Ahmed equalised for Avondale. There have been comebacks in this fixture before. This exact game, exact matchup at this venue in 2022, except it was the other way around, where Avondale were leading 3-0 and South Melbourne came back to win 4-3.
Probably the best game of the NPL era, that one.
Yeah. South Melbourne fans not pleased as play continues. Avondale to pick up where they left off. Edwards. Tavir. Trycheski. Kamara. Feed it through towards Wellsmore, and it's a bit too much on that one. And Roswell with a late challenge on Yankovic as well, but it's out for a goal kick.
Just been watching Jack Pope's movement in the last few minutes. You can see he's just following Luca Tavia around everywhere he goes, not allowing him any space to get on the ball. It's like he's got a tagging role at the moment, which is a smart move, because if you allow Luca Tavia any inch of space, he'll take it. Pope's got the energy to just keep up with him.
And if there is one player who's looked likely for Avondale in this second half, Mark, it's been Luca Tavir. He's been central to everything that when Avondale have been able to put this South Melbourne defence under pressure, it really has all come through Luca Tavir.
Yeah, if you can stop his service, it'll go a long way to stopping Avondale creating any serious chances.
So we've ticked over 66 minutes, still no changes from the Avengers, running with what they started for a little bit longer, despite all the heavy artillery on the bench. Lampard, straight up the line there to Mikola. He sends it long. Foot races on here between Kamara and Bernarda. Kamara does well. Bernarda still putting him under the pump. Manos, risky clearance, but did find its way through to Edwards. Mara finds Ahmed, and looking over at that Avondale benchmark, and it looks like a triple substitution could be in the offing. 3 players making their way over. Needs to be seen what those changes will be, as well played from Jack Pope. Does very well to step around his man and find Bernarda. Lovely ball back through, looking for the run of Pope, but getting back is Bryce. Manos. Short ball to Kamara, under pressure there from Leach, and it's turned over. Leach does well, goes to ground, and that's a free kick here for South Melbourne. And Emlyn Wellsmore is going to get a talking to here from the referee.
Surprised these Avondale defenders haven't recognised the pressure that they've been under for the entire game. Every time that they've been stretched like that defensively, and then South Melbourne's really pressed them, they haven't been able to get out and make the same mistake time and time again. Just launch the ball clear and start again, instead of inviting this pressure upon yourself.
Do you think it hurts not having that focal point up front as the bailout option? Like, just not having that, and knowing that if they go long and you've got someone like Trycheski going toe-to-toe with a Marshall or a Yankovic, that they're losing that height battle? Possibly.
Maybe that's why they aren't knocking it long, because they know it's just going to come straight back. Still better to knock it long and have it come back at you than making the mistakes they're making at the moment. Well, it looks like that man Agwek is about to come on.
So 3 changes in the offing for Avondale, but free kick will be taken first. Here's Iwakami on free kick duties. South Melbourne looking to add another and close in on a place in the Dockerty Cup final. Iwakami into the back post. Marshall's there, but too much on it. And out for the goal kick. So we will get that substitution now. Yusuf Ahmed is off. Kerr is going to be coming on. It looks like as well Stefan Zini is going to be making way. And Luca Tavir. So also going to be getting Blake Carpenter as well coming on.
Yusuf Ahmed, number 7, Stefan Zini, number 17, Luca Tavir. Coming on, number 11, 14, Blake Carpenter.
So Tavir, Ahmed, and Zinni off. Carpenter, Kerr, and Agwek on. So essentially, a brand new front three on here for Avondale going for this game. But Luca Tavir, surprised that he's coming off?
Oh, it's probably allowed Trzeski to drop into that hole and see if he can get the better of Pope. Pope was starting to overrun Luca Tavir, so allows Trzeski to try and get on the ball now.
Well, here's Blake Carpenter, who's played a little bit more as a left winger since coming back from injury. He's very positive in the 1-1 draw with Dandy Thunder a couple of weeks ago. Almost scored a late winner in that one as well.
Had a few chances last week as well against Hume when he came on.
Not usually amongst the goal scorers, but hoping that he can add to his goal tally tonight. As Towns forward there to Kamara. Wellsmore goes for goal on his left, and was never going to beat Javi Lopez.
It's a poor decision from Wellsmore. The time to turn and then just drive a little bit further. You can see South Melbourne starting their game management tactics now, 20 minutes to go.
Well, it is Yuzo Iwakami who is debuting for South Melbourne. Perhaps a little bit of fatigue setting in here for the 35-year-old. He's been very good on debut. He's fit in seamlessly to this South Melbourne team, but perhaps now a substitution to get some fresh legs on in the middle of the park and just shore things up a little bit here for South Melbourne.
He's done extremely well for 70 minutes. He's been up and down all game. He's, that holding midfielder, then dropping into defence when they're defending Avondale. And taking throw-ins, corners, free kicks. He's been everywhere tonight. It's pretty smart by South Melbourne the way they've dipped into the transfer market in this window. 2 Japanese players coming in. It's a very good market to get into. I can't think of a poor Japanese signing that's come into the NPL system.
Substitution for South Melbourne coming off.
Resounding applause. And he replaced here by Braden Spink. So, fellow mid-season arrival, Braden Spink, coming on here for Iwakami to see out this game. Braden Spink coming in from Queensland. As mentioned, Mark, they've been busy this window. 2 of those names, Ren Nagamatsu and Alex Menelau, not in the squad today. You just think that when they get all those guys out in the field and they're at full strength, this team is looking a lot more threatening, and they were able to have hung on to that win against Dandy City last week. What that could have done to buoy them in a run towards potentially, after being in a relegation battle for the majority of this year, go for 6th. Of course, they've still got a chance. It's going to be a big mountain for them to climb, but showing some really good form heading into the remainder of this season.
So during the week, they're probably one of the most informed teams in the competition at the moment.
So a bit of breeze coming through here at the Lakeside Stadium, knocking over some advertising hoardings to our right. Avondale looking to build on the opposite side. Here's Kerr. He's in some really good form for that mooted move overseas as he looks to feed it through. Agwek's in behind, but Lopez did well to come off his line and deny Avondale's top goal scorer getting on the end of that one.
Who's been on a bit of a goal drought, Manny Agwek. He's scored for about 5 games now, which coincided with Kerr temporarily departing Avondale. So now that he's back in the side, they link up really well together, Kerr and Manny Agwek.
Agwek was in the thick of that golden boot race for the majority of this season, but in the last few weeks, as you mentioned, since he hasn't been scoring, it's been quite the opposite for Bourgeois, who has steamed clear atop the golden boot charts. Carpenter goes to ground and Edwards a bit tangled up. Leach looking to get things moving. Kader Andrews. Pass goes out of bounds about for a throw-in. So it looks like Yanni Miletus is going to go have a talking to with someone on the South Melbourne bench. Is it a yellow card to Sinisha Kahadzic or maybe one of the assistants?
Looked like it went to Kahadzic.
Yeah. He's not pleased. Marshall. Got a foot in there. Helped on its way there by Spink. Cuba. Goes all the way back to Manos. Still time for Avondale. They can take solace in the fact that Dandy City did it last week. They scored twice in the dying moments to get a draw against South Melbourne. But South will be hoping that lightning doesn't strike twice tonight. There's Lampard's ball over the top.
It was a similar type of game as well, Nick. You know, South Melbourne really controlled that game against Dandy City in the same type of fashion as well, with that high energy press. Dandy City never really in the game, as Avondale haven't been tonight. But to come that last 10-15 minutes, Dandy City worked their way back into it. So we're getting to that point of the game now where, you know, South Melbourne need to hang in there and have the endurance to see it out.
If they can get one more, would all but make things certain of a place in the Dockerty Cup final. Avondale, though, they need to throw caution into the wind as Manos slips through, clears it away. Managed to find it through to Carpenter. Kamara. All over the top looking for Matty Agwek. Towns. Trycheski. Out wide there to Carpenter as Agwek in the middle. Ball whipped in. Agwek was waiting, but I think that came off the head there of... No, it was off Agwek last, not Marko Jankovic. And it's out for a goal kick.
It's a good ball into the area from Carpenter. Agwek couldn't adjust his body in time to get it on target. It's one of the few times that Avondale's been able to win that second ball in the midfield and then drive forward with numbers. It's really been all South Melbourne in the middle of the park today. They've definitely won that midfield battle, Charlie Leach and Jack Pope in particular. Funny, we wouldn't be saying that about South Melbourne over the last few years, winning a midfield battle.
Yeah. Bryce. Edwards. And for Agwek. Got a foot in, but wasn't able to bring it under control, and Jankovic just gobbles that one up. And slipping forward from defence, Marko Jankovic looking to use all his experience here, and he gives away the free kick though. Now Avondale looking to get things moving quickly, but it'll be a yellow card there to Jankovic as well. And the South fans on that far side not happy one little bit.
It was a definite yellow card. Jankovic knew he had to make the foul. Agwek robbed him of possession. He was out of position. Long way home from goal.
Well, it looks like Avondale are going to empty the clip on the bench as well. They still have Courtney Perkins and Matt Reid thrown on in search of getting a couple back in this game. Kamara. Towns. Cuba. South Melbourne as well getting ready to make a substitution of their own. Wellsmore, well defended by Mikola. Trycheski, and it's just cleared away by Jankovic. Straight to safety.
They'll need to move the ball a lot faster, a lot quicker.
Well, you can tell with Manos taking the throw in there, Mark. Definitely, they're leaving no stone unturned as Cuba looking to play through Carpenter. Edwards in support. It's cuts inside. Here's Kerr. Agwek. Wellsmore in a crossing position. Wins his side a corner, so what can the Avengers muster up here?
It's more in those moments there, Nick, where they need to move it quicker, just allowing South Melbourne way too much time to set their defensive shape up.
Well, it looks like we're going to get that substitution. Kalu Kamara off, Matt Reid on, so a bit more tall timber on for this set piece, and Sian Cuba as well is going to be replaced by Jackson Courtney Perkins.
Substitution for Avondale FC, coming off number 68, Kalu Kamara, and coming off number 80, Sian Cuba. Coming on, number 25, Jackson Courtney Perkins, and number 5, Matthew Reid.
There you go, confirmation of those substitutions. So Matt Reid and Courtney Perkins on, so they've emptied the bench. Search of a way back into this game. Wellsmore. Here's Trycheski. Back out wide to Kerr. Kerr whips it into the back post. And it was a very dangerous ball into the box. And almost was a cross-come shot in the end, but it's out for a goal kick as South Melbourne will make a substitution here. Andre Skopoulos coming on here, and it looks like it'll be Andy Brennan coming off here for South Melbourne.
Substitution for South Melbourne, Hellas. Coming
great
off number
night
7,
for
Andy Brennan.
Let's round back the clock tonight for Andy Brennan.
And coming on number 16, Andre Skopoulos.
Skopoulos we haven't seen too much of since the Preston game. He's been struggling with injury a little bit, but another young talent that South Melbourne have unearthed this season.
Great performance from Andy Brennan, as you mentioned, Mark, scoring that goal, which gives South Melbourne that 2-goal advantage. 4 goals now in the cup for Andy Brennan this year. Of course, he'll be hoping that his goal will be helping. There's a little bit of words here on the far side. It's going to be a yellow card.
He's off.
It's a second yellow. He's off. It's a red card for South Melbourne.
Max Mikola.
Max Mikola has been sent off. So South Melbourne will have to play the remainder of this game with only 10. And as a result, if South Melbourne get through to the final, we'll actually get confirmation of what this will actually mean for the final, whether it is a suspension or not. But Mikola is off.
Seems silly by Mikola. When the ball went out of play, the ball that was on the halfway line as the backup ball, he's knocked that away, so Avondale couldn't take
Kerr
it.
into the box. Edwards heads it towards goal. Sorry to cut you off there, Mark. Avondale doing a bit of attacking there, but so the second yellow was for a bit of gamesmanship, just kicking that ball away.
Yeah, so the ball that was on the touchline as the backup ball, you can see Miklas flicked that away, so Avondale couldn't take the quick throw in, and unfortunately that is a yellow card. So,
well, Mark, I don't know if you know the exact what this means about serving suspensions from here.
pretty sure, don't take my word as gospel, but pretty sure you can serve it in the league. I know you could serve league suspensions in the cup, so I can't see why would it work vice versa.
Well, Max Mikola was sent off in the Dockerty Cup final last year. We'll be hoping that South Melbourne have done enough to hold on, because a bit of extra pressure now for them. And they will make another substitution here. It is going to be Lucas Inglese coming on here for Charlie Leach. So a bit of added defensive steel here for South Melbourne for the final few
Substitution
moments.
for South Melbourne, Hellas, coming off number 88, Charlie Leach. Coming on number 6, Lucas Inglese.
So Inglese on, Leach off. South throwing an extra body behind the ball here to try and see this one out. Wellsmore out wide to Kerr. Agwek plays it short to Towns. Forced to go again all the way back there to Bryce. Wellsmore. Here's Carpenter. Looking to step past Skopoulos. Skopoulos did well to put Carpenter under pressure, and you can just see everyone back behind the ball here for South Melbourne, trying to see this one out. Towns. Trycheski feeds through Edwards. First time ball into the area, and it got ahead to it was Courtney Perkins. But wasn't able to steer that one on goal, just over the crossbar.
We're going to see this for the next 10 minutes or so that's left in this game. Avondale will be dominating possession and just throwing numbers forward. South Melbourne, obviously, with going down to 10 men, just going to keep numbers behind the ball. They don't need to score, so Avondale can find a way to score one in the next couple of minutes and really put the pressure on South Melbourne.
So up next for these two teams, South Melbourne back here against Altona next week. Avondale play Dandy City at home as well next Saturday. So big games for both of those two teams. Avondale taking on a finals contender in Dandy City. South Melbourne against Altona, who are looking to stave off the drop, and South conversely looking to keep their slim finals hopes alive. But I guess no free kick awarded on that far side. Again, the South fans providing plenty of noise on that far side.
Looked like Matthew Reid just rugby tackled Bernarda down to the ground there.
Here's Towns, looking to get things moving here for Avondale. Courtney Perkins, out wide there to Kerr. Feeding it through, Trycheski, well defended by Yankovic, stepping up from defence and just clears it away. I'm saying if you're a glass half empty operator, you might be saying South need to win that to stave off the drop, but I think they've done enough to survive this year.
Oh, you never know, Nick. Altona win that one. They'll put the pressure back on him.
Carpenter's ball in was never going to test the South Melbourne defence, and it's out for a goal kick. But then, of course, these two teams engage in their Australia Cup duties. South Melbourne heading down further south to take on South Hobart down in Tassie. Bit of an Andy Brennan homecoming for him, and Avondale playing a home game at Green Gully Reserve against Stirling. So the games are going to be coming thick and fast for these two teams in the run home. Avondale still firmly in the premiership race, but treble was still on offer. It still is if they can turn this one around late, but it's looking more and more likely it will be South Melbourne joining Heidelberg in the Dockerty Cup final. Well defended by Skopoulos. Towns gets the foot in. Skopoulos able to win it back. Courtney Perkins.
Becoming very predictable by Avondale at the moment, just getting the ball going out wide, and South Melbourne's got the numbers at the moment to prevent it from coming in.
Wellsmore again forced wide. Kerr. Corralled by Lampard. Looking to make something happen here, Kerr, but he's put to get it into the area. Courtney Perkins couldn't get ahead to it, and it's going to be a free kick going to South Melbourne. More precious seconds come off the clock. So South Melbourne have got a very difficult run after that South Hobart game. They play Heidelberg away, Green Gully. Then, of course, if this continues, they play Heidelberg in the Cup. Match against Avondale here in the final two games of the season. Then Oakley at Jack Edwards Reserve. Avondale play Altona away, Heidelberg at home, which is looking like a premiership decider. And they do, of course, mention play South Melbourne, then Green Gully at home in the final game of the season. We'll be hoping for their sake, for those two teams, that there's more football to come in September. But of course they'll be in action in October as well with the Australian Championship as the two foundation teams. This year is far from over for both of these two teams beyond the regular season. Edwards skipping past Skopoulos. Towns. Edwards in behind. Is he able to keep it alive? He can. Plays it short to Carpenter. Carpenter whips it in. It's nodded away again by Marshall. Bernarda does well to come up with possession, and he's isolated here with Bryce. Bernarda. Still going the well, Bernarda. Well defended. Avondale looking to go back the other way. Trycheski. Bryce. Patient in possession. Kerr. Towns. As Edwards in a load of space on this near side if they can find him. Edwards crosses it into a dangerous position, and it's put behind for a corner. As you said, Mark, it feels like it's been this same tape on loop. Ball coming out wide, and the South Melbourne defenders able just to put it behind.
They need to get this one spot on, Avondale. This is their chance to put a bit of pressure on South Melbourne.
Trycheski's ball into the area. Cleared away there by Yankovic. Straight back to Towns. Here's Kerr. Dinks it over the top. Slotted away. Kerr will chase it down again. Pops it into the area. It's his far side here to Wellsmore. Carpenter. Just want to get around his man. Ball whipped in by Agwek. Edwards coming at the back post. And it's a free kick there going to South Melbourne. More seconds come off the clock. Hellas closing in on a place in a 14th Dockerty Cup final. And what a matchup it's going to be against Heidelberg, Mark, if they're able to hang on here. Old rivals going head to head.
It's kind of a dream final, really. It's been a long time since South Melbourne and Heidelberg played in any sort of final.
So they've only played once in a Dockerty Cup final back in 1993. Well, South Melbourne will be hoping there's a repeat of that. They won on that day 6-2. So there will be 5 minutes of added time. So still a lot more defending for them to do, but Avondale need 2 goals.
The fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum of 5 minutes of added time.
See, Matt Reed's now joined in as an extra striker, so leaving no stone unturned here are the visitors.
This red card might be a blessing in disguise for South Melbourne. Allowed them to get Equalizer onto the pitch and just really sit back and absorb a little bit of pressure. Avondale still hasn't really thrown too much forward at South Melbourne.
Towns, Courtney Perkins, here's Trycheski, Edwards, whips it into the area, nodded away. Osmore will chase this one down, and the tall timber remains forward here. Just takes a deflection against a few half-hearted appeals for a handball, go unanswered. Bryce does well. Down one play there, but they'll keep things moving. Carpenter slips as he crosses, and it's cleared away. Carpenter's there to chase it down again. Towns. Wellsmore still on the deck on that far side, and that pass is chopped out there by Lampard. Wellsmore getting back up off his feet to win it back. Wellsmore back into the area, over the head there of Edwards. Comes out here to Trycheski. Crosses it into the box, nodded away again. Carpenter, have a go if he wants, but just blue shirts everywhere. Agwek, that's a poor pass, and Lampard's there to intercept, and he just clears it straight back to Thomas Manos.
Not much else he could do there, just set themselves up again defensively.
Blue shirts everywhere as Carpenter's ball into the box. Not a bad ball in!
Oh.
And Manny Agwek was waiting, and he put it wide. And what a chance that was there for Avondale to get one back.
That was the moment for Avondale. Agwek's got to hit the back of the net from that situation. And you'd put your house on him to score from there too, really. Just goes to show that he is out of form at the moment.
It was a delightful ball into the box, and Agwek was unmarked, and you heard the South Melbourne defenders yelling to wake up, and they can't afford to give Avondale even a sniff.
Well, they did. I think that was the moment for Avondale. We had to score there, Agwek, if they had any hope of getting back into this one. Just hasn't been their night, Avondale. Haven't looked their usual selves. I think that's more from the way South Melbourne set themselves up tonight. Really, from the get-go, they've really controlled the tempo of the game. Their high-energy press really suffocated Avondale for a large chunk of this game.
They've been the great survivors throughout their cup run. They were down against Bentley. They were down against the youthful Pascoe Vale at this very venue, and they were able to somehow get that win on that night with 2 late goals. They had to get it done on penalties against Dandy City, and today against one of the best in the state. This has been a statement performance, perhaps one of the best South Melbourne performances in quite some time.
Now, we've seen these two match up over the years as a top of the table clash, but haven't really seen South Melbourne control those type of games in a long, long time.
Well, they're almost there. Paynter Andrews just sends it straight up the field. We're coming straight to Manos, and time is the enemy now of Avondale. That quick flurry before, well, to start this second half has really been the difference here. It's Towns out wide to Kerr. Haven't given up the ghost just yet, Avondale, of getting one back. As Kerr cuts inside. Decides to go for goal. Shot's blocked. There's a handball on the edge of the box, so a free kick here for Avondale, but there's only seconds remaining in this one, so by the time this free kick's taken, it's all going to be dependent on how generous Yanni Miletus is if they even score this.
Yeah, well, this is going to kill some time anyway, setting up this free kick, so...
Get the sense that they're not going to be in any rush to set up this wall as well.
Nick, we said earlier in the game that the last time these two met earlier on in the season, 4-0 win for Avondale. South Melbourne were coachless at that point. Jeez, what a turnaround by Sinisha Kahajic. Has really got this team playing really good football.
So Kerr and Agwek standing over this free kick. Can Avondale get one back in the dying embers of this one? Agwek hits it, takes a deflection, and it's out for a corner. Avondale looking to take this one quickly. Courtney Perkins crosses it into the area. It's nodded away. Chased down there by Kerr. And that's that! South Melbourne are through to the Dockerty Cup final.
Dockerty Cup finalists for the second year running.
The champions will face Heidelberg next month.
We will face Heidelberg United.
An incredible win from South Melbourne. They led through Jack Pope, his deflected effort giving South Melbourne the lead. Yusuf Ahmed brought Avondale level, but 2 goals shortly after half-time from Noel Bernarda and Andy Brennan, giving South Melbourne the lead. And they were able to hang on despite going down to 10 after Max Mikkela's red card. And now they will have the chance to go after a record 10th Dockerty Cup crown. The reigning champions kick on, and perhaps after what's been such a difficult year, it might end on a much better note for South Melbourne.
Yeah, what a performance by South Melbourne, really, from the first whistle to the end. They were on their game, really suffocated Avondale all game, and in particular that opening 5 minutes into the second half where they scored those 2 goals. Avondale never really got into it, and a deserved win by South Melbourne to book their place in the Cup final.
An incredible result for South Melbourne after such a difficult year. They went a couple months without a win. They were staring down the barrel of relegation, but the last month has been an incredible turnaround under Sinisha Kahajic, who has got them all but to safety, and now into the Dockerty Cup final. And they have not only the end of the season to look forward to, a Cup final and an Australia Cup run potentially on the cards for them as well. Avondale will now turn their attention firmly to not just the Australia Cup, but to the premiership race in the league. As South Melbourne, of course, they welcome Altona here next week, and Avondale take on Dandy City next Saturday afternoon as they look to go toe-to-toe with Heidelberg for first place. It's been a pleasure to have your company here on the Football Victoria YouTube page. Nick Tabano and Mark Ivkovic here. Mark, it's been great to have you here on this Saturday night, and looking forward to what's going to be a huge end to this season. Of course, NPL Victoria football back next week with the final run-in and the Dockerty Cup final in a month's time. So signing off here from Lakeside Stadium, the score here, South Melbourne 3, Avondale 1.